out, so now it should be better. So just leaving you a few seconds to watch all the beautiful pictures here. Okay, I'll continue with the agenda. We'll start out with a short company profile. Who is RapidiOnline? Then we'll go directly to talk about Ole Lynggaard, what the company is, what they do, and how they did the implementation of RapidiOnline. Then I'll take over again and I'll do a demo of how RapidiOnline work. That is that I'll try to actually transfer some data from Navision to Salesforce and back into Navision again. After that, we'll talk a little bit about the standard integration that we provide for Salesforce.com to Navision, what different tables or objects are transferred in this standard integration, and how do people or customers typically extend this integration to fully suit their needs. Then we'll talk a little bit about pricing and about how to get started with RapidiOnline, and then hopefully we'll be pointing at having about 10 minutes for a Q&A session in the end. Okay, I'll leave it over to Berthe to start a poll. So if you can please quickly answer so that we have a good idea about if you're technical or if you are sales oriented. I'll try to adapt the presentation on the fly a little bit to reflect that. Okay, I see that today it's very much evenly scattered. So people in sales, people in technical, and yeah, it's about 50-50. We'll go about forward with a short presentation of RapidiOnline. RapidiOnline is a software development company, a service development company, and we've been around since 1992, where we started out actually with integration also. We had, from the start, we had focus on Microsoft Dynamics, or at that time it was called Navision, and we integrated Navision with other systems, and also at the start there we've been doing a lot of Navision to Navision integration, so to say. If you had salespeople in different sites or working on a laptop, you could integrate your Navision with another Navision that way. Now we mostly work with integration between CRM systems and ERP systems, where CRM is typically Salesforce.com, and the ERP systems, that's typically Microsoft Dynamics AX, NAV, or C5, for example. So that's what we do mostly now. It started out with on-premise solutions. At that time, we barely had, when we started, we barely had the internet yet. But now everything that we deliver is on demand and delivered as a service, just like Salesforce.com. So right from the start, we had focus on data integration, and we built up some techniques and some products that we use in the background to achieve these data integrations. We tried over the years. We built in as much knowledge into the products as possible, so that with the products that we have, with the platform, I would say, I'll call it a platform, we are able to quickly achieve a quite deep integration between the different systems, and that's very much our goal. That's to be able to very quickly get some results, and even so, it's that we are able to do it quickly. We are also able to do a deep integration where we really integrate the business processes between the different systems. At our current state, where we deliver everything on demand and with standard integrations to start out with, we're able to get a customer started within 1 to 2 hours, including getting access to their local Navision and to Salesforce, and starting transferring data forward and back between the systems. Speaking about the different systems that we support, we have a generic platform that allows us to transfer data between a number of different systems. On top of that platform, we build specific solutions. For example, Salesforce to NAV, Salesforce to AX, Salesforce to C5, and when starting out a new customer, we start with that specific solution, and then we adapt that to the exact needs of that specific customer. Typically, because it's a complex world and everybody have different needs, we also extend the integration solution with access to a database. I would say that maybe something like 50% of our users, our customers, they have some data in an additional database that they want to integrate into it. And we can then extend the solution with, for example, access to Microsoft SQL Server, where you have maybe some license information if you are selling software licenses, and we can pull them into Salesforce also, so you have everything visible to the salespeople in Salesforce. Okay, we'll have another poll. This time to know a little bit more about how much you know about Salesforce. Okay, and I see it's also here we have some that are on the administrator level and about a third that are actually doing development inside Salesforce, and another third that is more on a user level. Okay, I'll now switch over to Beate and Hans Kurt Hansen, and they will tell us a little bit about the integration that Ole Lynggaard was doing.
Hello, hello everyone, and hello Hans Kurt, and thank you again for joining us. So, tell us a little bit about your company, Hans Kurt.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Our company is Ole Lynggaard Copenhagen, and we are designing and producing high-end jewelry in a lot of countries. Our primary markets is Scandinavia, Denmark, Norway, and Sweden, but further countries are coming up in these years. Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and the Benelux countries are our best export countries, and even Spain is a good customer country now. In the system, we use Navision for order registration, invoicing, production, and all the administrative work. We use ClickView for reporting, and Salesforce for the salespeople traveling around in the world. And the latest thing is that we started Rapidi in a little more than half a year ago to integrate our Salesforce and Navision data.
Okay, thank you. So you choose RapidiOnline for integrating Salesforce and NAV. Tell us a little bit about your RapidiOnline implementation. How long did it take to actually transfer your first data between the systems, for example?
Well, the implementation were running over about a month, I think, mostly because it takes some time to make the initial transfer of data. But I think Michael had the first integration, and here I think the customer name and address and telephone number and the most starting data was within a few hours. So the system was very quick up running, and then we had to use some time on the initial data load.
Okay. So what are you, tell us about a little bit about your solution. What are you getting transferred?
First of all, customer data. All the fixed data for the customer, the outstanding orders is one of the most interesting information for our salespeople, and the invoices are too, and all reminders when the finance sends reminders to the customers, the salespeople can see that inside Salesforce too. And additionally, we have supplier data. We have items data from our items database with about 7,000 different item numbers. Our largest tables are invoices and orders. For example, invoices, there are 24,000 invoice heads for the time being, and 370,000 invoice lines, and it's all transferred daily in the night. Our sales orders, we have about 14,000, which are synchronized every hour, and our customer data are synchronized every hour too.
Quite a large amount of data, I would say.
Yes. And
did you want to say something about the slide before also, or?
yes.
Okay, I just switch back.
Maybe we can go back to it. Yes, because I think it's very interesting that the same data can be shown in Salesforce in different ways. If we take the section number 2, sales orders, we can see all our sales orders one after another here, and we could choose the sales order and see all the lines and details of that order specifically. And in the section below sales order lines, we can, if we want to see if a customer has ordered a specific item number, we can choose the item and see in which order this item is ordered. So it's two ways to see the same, exactly the same data. Very useful in our company.
Yes, that gives a quick overview also, so you don't have to switch back and forward.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay. So your use of Salesforce, what impact did it have, or the whole integration have on the use of Salesforce to your people, and what benefits?
Well, if I compare to the CRM system we had before, I can say that first of all, the salespersons actually use Salesforce now, and they like it. And one of the reasons is, of course, that all the data inside Salesforce are actualized every hour. Our customer data customer data in salespersons' computers are up to date. As I said before, the customer data and the order data every hour, and the rest of the data every night. The salespersons have more relevant data. Before, they had to collect this from different colleagues when they were about to visit a customer. Now it's all right at their computers. And the Salesforce can now insert new customers themselves, so the order can be registered immediately. They are not depending on a colleague in the headquarters to set up new customers.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you told us before that the integration was implemented before you were trained in using Salesforce. So what impact did that have on your salespeople, that all the data was transferred to Salesforce before that training?
It was very, very good because the fact that known data was in the system during the Salesforce training made the training a big success, where the salespersons were very active discussing how to get the best out of Salesforce. And it was very clear to me that this good discussions came because they saw known data. And after the training, it obviously was used from day one. Salesforce was a success from day one because, again, they had their own customers orders, and their own customers' invoices. Everything was what they know and could see, so they worked with it from the very beginning.
Very good. And we have one last question. Yeah. If you would recommend RapidiOnline, and why did you choose RapidiOnline?
I would absolutely recommend RapidiOnline because the system is very quick and very flexible, and until now I have all my wishes fulfilled. We chose RapidiOnline first because Salesforce recommended it, and then I had a long talk to Michael, which made me understand the system, and I was not in doubt that it was a good construction for this job. And afterwards we had a very quick and smooth implementation.
Thank you, Hans-Kurt, very much for telling us about your experience. I think I hand it over to Michael again.
Yeah, thank you, Berta. And thank you very much, Hans-Kurt. It's so good to have happy customers. That's actually what drives us every day to do our best here at RapidiOnline. That's when we see that the customers that we have are really happy to for the services that we deliver. Okay, I'll get on, and I see the next one is a poll here. So and this is a bit about data integration. So if you can please answer that one. Yeah, thank you very much. And I see that, most of you actually think that all the three first reasons are indeed very, very reasonable, very valid reasons for when it comes to data integration. Okay, I'll go over to a live demo, and what I want to show is that we can a simple transfer between Salesforce and Navision. So first of all, I'll switch into Salesforce here, so you can see I have a Salesforce open, and I have a Selangorian, that's a customer that is coming from Navision. It's actually one of the customers in a demo company in Navision. And what I will try is simply to change the address in NAV and then see that it comes over here. I'll go down here and I'll find my Navision. There we go. Here we have Navision, and I'll go in and simply change the address to Corner Road 250 or 55050. I'll ensure that that's saved in Navision. I'll jump over to RapidiOnline, and this time I'll simply run RapidiOnline manually. As I said, normally that runs in the background, and customer transfers is something that we normally run every hour. We have a built-in scheduler in RapidiOnline where you can set the different transfers to run in different intervals. But as an example, customer transfers every hour, sales order transfers every hour maybe, or even more often. And for example, invoices and things, you maybe transfer them during the night, so once a day. But that can all be set up in the scheduler that we have built in here. Okay, it's transferred. I'll go back to Salesforce and I'll refresh the screen here in Salesforce. And you should see that the corner road here changed to 555. So to make the demo even more realistic, I'll go in here and I'll actually edit the phone number, change that to 888. We'll save it, and I'll go to RapidiOnline. I'll switch to the next transfer, which goes in the other direction from Salesforce to Navision, and I'll run that one. That's it. And then I'll switch to Navision. Here we go. I'll just go forward and back a little bit, because else Navision will not recognize that the phone number has changed. Actually, it has not recognized it yet. That is a UI question in Navision. So, but if you change something in Navision in another field, then it will recognize that it has actually a change pending that is in the database but not in the UI yet. So there you see the phone number has changed. Okay. I think we still have a little bit of time. So what I want to do also, because there's a number of technical people on the call, I'll just show you what else we can do also. We have here in Navision, we have the home page, and at the moment we're not transferring that to Salesforce. If we look in Salesforce, here we go, we have the website which is empty on that customer. So we're not transferring that at the moment, but what I will do is that I will simply go into the transfer. This would be the one from Navision to Salesforce. I'll scroll down. I'll go into the field list. I'll say new. I'll start writing the name of the field that I want transferred. And there you dynamically will have the fields that match this name. I'll select homepage, and I'll do the same over here. It's something with web, yes, website. And that's actually it. I'll go back. I'll activate these changes, and I'll run the transfer. And that's all it takes to actually add another field and to get it transferred. I'll go here. We'll do an update of the page, and you'll see that we got the web page for Silangorian, or the website, we got it into Salesforce. So that's how easy it is to actually modify the transfers, to add fields to them. Just to give you a very short idea about that. If we have time and if you want to, we can dive more into it at the end of the session, or we're happy to do a more deep demonstration of that later on in another session. I'll go back into the presentation, and I'll talk a little bit about what we have in our standard integration between Salesforce and Navision. There are a number of different components. Actually, Hans Kurt was talking about most of them because they use most of these different components in their solution. So customers to accounts in Salesforce, and there we typically do a two-way integration. That means that both new and updated customers from Navision will go into Salesforce, and also the other way, new and updated from Salesforce would go back into Navision. These transfers are set up as 4 different transfers, and that actually means that you can pick and choose what you want to implement. You can say, okay, Navision is our master system. We will not have Salesforce writing back into Navision, so you'll only implement the ones or only activate the ones that goes from Navision to Salesforce. You can also say, okay, Navision is our master system, but we will still allow Salesforce to update things like the address, phone numbers and things like that, because the salespeople in Salesforce, they actually typically know that better than the finance department working with Navision. So they are working with Salesforce and they enter information there, and then it makes a lot of sense that this information automatically goes back into Navision. Other things like payment terms and things like that, you don't want, or maybe don't want to update automatically into Navision. So that all depends on what you want, and everything can be tailored to exactly what you need. Then items and pricing, that's something that you typically maintain in Navision and transfer to Salesforce and keep updated inside Salesforce so that you don't have to maintain it in Salesforce. Also, booked invoices, we transferred into some extra objects that we created in Salesforce that we call sales history, and it's actually invoice headers and invoice lines from Navision and pretty much all the fields, so that you have all the details inside Salesforce, and you can use in reports in Salesforce, which by the way it's a lot easier to make a report in Salesforce than it is to make the same kind of report in Navision. So you have a lot more flexibility when you have the data in Salesforce, and you can make these reports yourself instead of having to hire a Navision consultant to do. The report scan in Salesforce can be used in dashboards where you see the amounts that you invoice day by day, like that. Very what we also transfer is the ledger entries, and that gives us the information for each invoice and for this also. So that again, it gives you the data for all the for having the balance, the actual balance of a customer, and for knowing how their payment history is. And as Hans Kurt said, also what they had, that is a bit of an add-on, but when they send out reminders, they end up inside Salesforce also. So that's also, but more like a possible extension, I would say. Then we actually have one thing that isn't listed here, and that is taking the open sales orders from Navision and just having a copy and an updated copy of them inside Salesforce, and that was very valuable to Ole Lynggaard and Hans Kurt also. We have then also the ability to take opportunities that you create inside Salesforce and transfer them back into a new sales order inside Navision. So when you close and win an opportunity in Salesforce, we can automatically create a sales order inside Navision based on the data there. It's a little bit more complex because there's a lot of things that needs to be set up correctly in Navision when you transfer data to a sales order. So that typically needs some more work when we set that up. But I think it's around 40 or 50% of our customers that go that extra step and also have the sales orders or the opportunities transferred back into Navision as a sales order. Okay, this is simply a screen dump of Salesforce showing these objects. If we have time later on, I can show you more of it inside Salesforce also. Okay, I'll tell you a little bit about our pricing structure. Not that I want to go into a lot of detail with it, but just to give you an idea about how it works. We have 3 different versions. We have a light, a standard, and an advanced version. The light version is, very light. So it's just like customer account integration. And it's actually a free version if you do not have a lot of data. We offer that for free. It's only daily updates, but it's integration anyway of the customers and accounts between Salesforce and Navision. If you go one step further, there's a standard integration which allows to integrate any objects in Navision with any object in Salesforce. So no matter what it is, if it's one of the standard objects that we have an integration for already, or it's a custom object, you can integrate that with the standard edition. If you go one step further and look at the advanced edition, then on top of the standard edition, you also get the ability to, as a customer, to set up the integration yourself. So in the standard edition, it would be us or a partner of ours that are doing the setup, but in the advanced edition, we would train you to do the setup yourself. In the advanced edition, you can also have event-triggered updates. And what that means is that inside Salesforce, you can have a workflow. And as part of that workflow, you can actually trigger that some data are transferred. And it's extremely easy to set up. And that's the beauty about it, is that you just go through 2-3 screens inside Salesforce, and then you're done. Then it's set up. So, for example, you could have a workflow that triggers that is triggered when you set an opportunity to closed won, and as part of that workflow, you ensure that opportunity is transferred to Navision right away. So that's an example of it. The schedules, the ability to schedule the transfers you have in all 3 editions, but the ability or the interval that you can set them up to work is a bit more quickly in as you go up the versions. Then on the pricing, we have a volume component, and basically a little company with not so many data, they will be typically in the small volume, maybe medium volume, and a larger company with where we see you have a lot of people working inside Salesforce. Like if you have 50 or 100 users in Salesforce, you would typically be more like medium or large volume. So it simply depends on your data and how much you need to transfer forward and back. The pricing is not depending on the number of users that you have in either system. It's a monthly price for the whole integration, so to say. Typically we offer a fixed price for the implementation also. It depends on the complexity of the solution. So there, please get back to us and we'll get in a dialogue and get a description of what you need, and then we can give you a fixed price on the implementation also. Yeah, there was one thing that I wanted to say also. That is that a lot of our customers, where they do Salesforce to Navision integration, they have several companies inside Navision. So they have different legal entities because they have subsidiaries in several countries. And these companies, they need to be integrated. Typically all of them need to be integrated into one central Salesforce. This is a very common scenario for us. It's maybe something like 3/3 of our customers that have this scenario where you have several sources or several legal entities that you need to integrate into one Salesforce that covers everything. So one point there is that yes, we do that kind of things, and we have a lot of experience with it. And another point there is that you don't pay per company, but you pay for the total amount of data. So we add together the amount of data that you have in the different companies and the different legal entities, and then you pay the subscription based on that total amount. So even if you have like 5-6 subsidiaries, you might be in the large volume, but you don't pay several times for the same integration. And we can get the data from the different countries. That's no issue at all. That's just one of the benefits on the way that we actually connect to a local Navision. So they don't have to be in the same physical site. So yeah, I think we have touched on these different things. Easy to set up, and our large experience with Microsoft Dynamics ERPs, especially with Navision, and that we are able to actually accomplish this. So how do you get started with this fast running lady here? You contact us, you sign up for a free trial, and then we'll get you started. This brings me over to the Q&A session, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Okay, we have a few come in. The first one is actually to Hans Kurt at Ole Lynggaard. One asks how many salespeople they needed to train and how long it took to get 100% adaptation.
We trained 12 sales salespersons in the first session, and 100% adaption was within a few days, and maybe 90% one day after. The training was one day, and it was very successful, and primary because the salespersons could see their own data.
Okay, I think that answers it. Thank you a lot, Hans-Kurt. Next question is how we actually do the connections to the local Navision databases and Salesforce.
Yeah, I think I'll take that. We have another slide here, I think. Yeah, here we go. This one tells a little bit, this is a little bit more technical, so it tells a little bit about how we do the connection between the different systems. So RapidiOnline is out in the cloud on our servers in our service center, and to get to a local system like Microsoft Dynamics NAV that is installed behind a firewall and everything, what we do is that we have some technology that we call the RapidiConnector. The RapidiConnector is a small Windows service that you install typically on an application server, or if it's a little installation, a small installation, then it might be on the database server itself. The RapidiConnector is set up with just 3 parameters: a service ID, a user ID, and a password, and then it will do an outbound connection up to our server. So yeah, the two-way arrow here is a bit misleading, so to say, but data is flowing in both directions. But the connection itself will only go in the outbound direction. Typically, you don't have to open up your firewall or anything. We only need one port in the outbound direction. When the RapidiConnector is connected to the central, it will show up, and we'll use that connection to do a two-way communication to the local Navision database. All the parameters on how to connect to the local Navision database, that will be set up centrally. When connecting to Salesforce, we use their web services API, and it's running SSL, and yeah, it's quite normal way to exchange data with Salesforce. I hope that answered the question.
I think it did. Yeah, thank you. Next one is regarding the volume, a question about how many records are small, medium, and large volumes.
Yes, I'll just step up here to see the pricing. Here we go. So we have small, medium, large, and unlimited volume. And the actual limits there, that's counted in average number of records per day. And a small volume, that goes up to 100 records per day in average. Medium volume covers up to 250 records per day, and large volume up to 1,000 records per day, and unlimited, that will be about that. Now that may not sound like a lot, but actually if you look at it in a little bit larger, then small volume will be able to handle, for example, like it would be like 3,000 records updated or added on a monthly basis, and 3,000 records, that would, for example, be 300 invoices with each 10 lines. So and 300 invoices, well, that is some kind of data anyway. So, and what we are counting is only the actual updates and additions of data. It's not the total amount of data that we count. On the transaction, that will of course be the total amount, but scattered over some time. To establish this with the amount of data, when we get into a dialogue, then we ask you for some different figures, like the number of customers that you have in Navision, the number of items, the number of invoices you do per month, the number of invoice lines you do per month, and based on that data we'll calculate a volume class, and then we'll guarantee you that this volume class that you sign up for is what you also pay for the first year. So there will be no extra charges if you go over that limit, as long as you told us the right figures, of course. Yeah, I hope that answered that question.
I think so. Next one is in the same category. It's what's the price for the initial data load?
We typically include the initial data load in our setup offer. So typically it's something I would say for a medium size installation, it's something around in total it would be something around 1,200 to 2,400 euro. Just to give you an idea about it. That's around 10 to 20 hours of work on our side, and that typically covers both adapting our standard transfers to specific needs, maybe even that you have to gather the data from more than one Navision company, and that we schedule and set up the service to do the initial data load. So yeah, we don't charge specifically or extra for the initial data load in that way. That's part of the services that we provide.
Okay. Next one, a little out of category, is if we look at integration between Navision and Salesforce or Microsoft CRM, what, in your opinion, is the easiest to integrate?
That's a good question. Actually, from our point of view, when you talk just about the integration, there's not much difference between it. So you typically have to do the same kind of integration between the two systems, and that again is due to the fact that, well, both Salesforce and Microsoft CRM are CRM systems, so they serve the salespeople in the organization typically, and the salespeople need some data to be able to do their daily work. So customers need to be integrated, and salespeople would very much like to see the sales history and ledger entries and things like that. So if you look at it that way, and from an integration point of view, it's much the same data that you actually would need transferred forward and back between the systems. And we have a standard integration also for Microsoft CRM to Navision, and even now Microsoft is offering an integration solution between NAV 2009 and CRM 2011, but we still have customers that prefer our solution towards the solution that Microsoft is offering for free. The pricing is about the same also on our side. So from an integration point of view, I can't say that one is a lot easier or a lot more complex than the other. Then what I always recommend people is that you should see about the usability of the system itself. That's the most important. You need to look at, does this system actually suit my needs? And there of course a number of differences between Microsoft CRM and Salesforce. But there you really need to see for yourself which one actually better suits your needs.
Okay, well, that was it for the question.
Okay, yeah, I see we are also more or less out of time, so that was that's very fine. Okay, good. But then I'll say thank you for coming to this webinar, and if you have any questions, then just let me know. After we close the webinar down here, or after you leave the webinar, there will be a short questionnaire. So if you could please give us a little feedback, that will help us do a better webinar next time. Thank you very much, and again, thank you, Hans Kurt, for joining us also.
You're welcome.
Bye bye.